Thank you so much for tuning in again. This week you're gonna have more kale in your box, and I just wanted to show you what I have made a few times. I call it 3 kale salad. It's really simple, and the thing that I really want to share with you today is the dressing that goes on it. I mean, anybody can make kale salad, and kale tastes best with yummy dressing. So we're going to do exactly what we did last week with the collard greens. You're going to take the rib out of the kale and then put the kale and the kale pieces rather in a cold bath. So you just put some cold water in a big pot or bowl and you let the kale get happy in there. As you can tell, I've already cut up some. This kale is beautiful and it's really big. We have different varieties. You'll have a red one, you'll have like a more of a curly one, and then that one I just put in is, I don't know what this is called, Michael, but...
Red boar.
Red boar. So we have 3 different kinds of kale that you will find in your farm share box this week. So, you want to get in on this, Michael? Just to make sure everyone knows what they're doing with the rib. Taking the rib out. Like I said, we did this with the collard greens. The rib along the middle of the kale, it's just bitter. You don't want to cook it and you don't want to try and eat that part. With the kale pieces, you're just going to break them up into little squares. Again, much like we did the collard greens. So let's just let that get happy and washed off. And you can sort of actually squeeze it a little bit. It breaks the kale down somewhat, so it will be more easily to absorb the dressing. So let's get in on that. I like to do a little white vinegar. And I don't measure things, you know, if anyone dials in and is like, how much of that did she put? I sort of eye it. So you'll have to test this for your taste. White vinegar is the acidic piece of this. I don't know, that's just gonna be a starter right there. I might have to add some more. Do a little olive oil. So what do we have here? We have oil and vinegar, literally oil and vinegar. But this is the tasty. I'm gonna do some sesame oil as well. That is the money. That's like, ooh, what's in this? This is so tasty. Magic. Looking for my garlic press. Here it is, country kitchen. We always have something going on the stove or in the sink. Now, depending on your taste of like how much garlic you like as a person, I have 4 cloves out here, but you might just want to put 1 or 2. The other thing I want to add to this recipe is, a little more crunch. We have some beautiful, beautiful cabbage, not ours, not Avalon's, but some cabbage I got at the store to put in this. It just makes a beautiful summer salad. I'm gonna go for it. I'm doing 4 cloves. Keep those mosquitoes away, right? At the picnic. If you don't have one of these things and you like garlic, you need to go to LaRue Kitchen or get on the internet and order one. It is not a cheap item to put in your kitchen, but it is the best. It's like the, Cadillac of garlic presses. So, we have the oil and the vinegar, we have the sesame oil, we have the garlic, and then we have some cilantro. I'm just gonna like throw this in here. Now normally I would like take off every single little piece. Just a little bit of cilantro in there. The kale too, I think it's probably clean enough. you're gonna wanna try and get all of the water off the kale that you can. So this is a salad spinner. And I have over here on the stove some pepitas, some pumpkin seeds. This also will create a little bit of a crunch to your kale salad along with the cabbage. You don't want to burn these, so when you turn these on low, you just want to keep shaking them around. They get nice and toasty. The taste is just fine without toasting, but they really go up to a different level of deliciousness when you toast pepitas. Okay, so we put all that garlic in there. Oh yeah, I was going to salad spin this. Getting the water off the kale, really, really important. I just took a paper towel, and she goes. I could have a little sous chef do this for purposes of the video. The other thing about adding to a kale salad, so I'm going to add the pepitas. I've already talked about the cabbage. You want a protein in there? You could boil off a little bit of chicken and chop that up with a little bit of balsamic vinegar, olive oil, and garlic. That's delicious. If you don't eat meat, you can do tofu. Just chop up some tofu and brown it in the oven. Again, with whatever special sort of marinade that you like. And I have recently discovered a gluten-free pasta that is delicious. I'm going to show you the box. So when you're at your grocery store looking for it, you can maybe get some of these. This is called banza, made from chickpeas, and 100% gluten-free. Delicious. You don't want to cook them too long though, because they get a little, they just kind of fall apart if you cook them too long. All right, now there's a couple of other special ingredients. You might not want to do this, but we like things hot at my house. So now we're going to go for a little bit of tamari, otherwise known as soy sauce, but this is 100% natural and gluten-free. If you get like commercial soy sauce, it's not always gluten-free. Again, not measuring anything, just telling you what's in here. You'll have to play around with this recipe for your taste. So excited that I found the green top at the store. This thing has been lost to, maybe one of those ports coming on the barge in LA or somewhere, but we haven't had the green top in a long time. This is a chili garlic paste or sauce. We call it green top because it's got a green top. Now with this, I'm doing about a tablespoon. And I also like to put a little bit of brown sugar, baby. Brown sugar. Remember last week when we put a little bit of sugar in the collards? The collards can be a little, bitter. And kale can be too. It's a green leafy vegetable. It holds a lot of nutrients and vitamins, tons of vitamin C and A, antioxidants. And because it's complex, it can be a little on the bitter side. So, you want to get a little closer in on this, Michael? If you have a whisk, that's even better. So we have the cilantro, 4 cloves of garlic, we have white vinegar, we have olive oil, sesame oil, a little bit of brown sugar, we have tamari, and we have the green top. this stuff. I'm gonna check my pepitas over here. They're getting there. This is good. You do not want to overcook those or burn those. Okay, I'm gonna pour a little bit of this on so that kale can start breaking down. And I'm gonna put the rest on after I put the cabbage in there. So, Mr. Cabbage, I always take off the first 2 leaves, just because, you know, that's been rolling around on the in the bottom of the truck or wherever it's been, and then you wash that. You want a really heavy-duty knife to cut it right in half. And then you cut out this thing. Talk about bitter. That core, you don't want that at all. Next week, or maybe the week after, we might do a show on coleslaw. Again, one of my southern favorites. And I make some good coleslaw, y'all. So, you want to go about as thin as you can on this. Nobody likes a big chunk of cabbage in their mouth. It's okay because of this tasty dressing that we just made. So, you do a couple of slices as thin as possible, and then you just go along the other direction with it. And in she goes. Another variation on the pepitas, or you could do both. You could put a little almond in there. I would also toast the almonds as well. So cabbage, kale, pepitas, a little bit of tofu or chicken or something else for protein. We're not doing that today, but you could. And again, you could also do a little pasta in there. If you don't want to try the gluten-free pasta, which is great, the bow tie work really well. You know, if you're just going to do the wheat pasta or whatever, bow tie goes really well with this Asian kale salad. Now, the rest of it. Let's just pour that on there. Right before we mix all of this up, you want to do a little bit of salt and pepper, a little bit, because you already have that tamari in there for the sodium. But salt, ionized salt, again, breaks down these complex green vegetables. And you want this kale broken down a little bit. We haven't cooked this kale. This kale is fresh, right out of the gardens of Avalon. This is just a little bit of pepper, salt and pepper. And this is a trick that I learned from a man that I used to house sit for, his wife actually. I got a recipe from her one time, and she's like, oh, no, don't stir it. Put it in a Tupperware thing and shake it. So put the top on there, make sure it's really tight. And then, oh yeah, baby. Yeah, oh my God, the smell, sesame oil. I love sesame oil. It's so good. Oh man, I must have been a samurai in another life. Oh, did you hear that? They're starting to heat up a little bit. Oh yeah. So you can actually already see the breakdown of the greens happening. They look different than Mr. Freshie. They look like they're already starting to wilt a little bit. That's the look that you want. That's the yum yum. Again, you don't want to put too much salt in there to break it down. The best way to break down a fresh kale salad is what